What's up, droners? Brennan here from Dronr Tech, brought to you by RemotePilot101.com. And today I want to talk to you guys about my first impressions with Skydio 2. Let's get into it. All right, guys, so I'm going to tell you guys right off the bat, I have not spent a lot of time with this drone. I actually just received it from a good friend of mine, Kelly from Ready Set Drone. This is Kelly right here. This is his channel. He has a much bigger and more awesome YouTube channel than I do. You should go and check him out because he's fantastic, and he has so many drones that I hit him up and was just like, dude, can I just use your Skydio for a few videos? And he was just like, oh, that's a thing, and just sent it. It was amazing. I will also actually be a part of his Spin Up conference that's going to be happening later in September, the weekend of September 10th, 11th, 12th, 13th, I think. I will be there hosting it virtually for you guys, so check it out. It is called the Spin Up Conference, spinup2020.com, I think. But either way, just type in Ready Set Drone, Spin Up on your browser. I'll have a link below so you guys can check it out. But I will be there, and it'll be a good time. But I wanted to talk to you guys about this. This is what we're here for, is the Skydio 2. I actually did get the opportunity to take this thing out and fly it. I also took out my Mavic Air, the original one, with me to compare the two. We're gonna do a different video about that later, but I was just gonna tell you guys about my first impressions. So when I pulled this thing out of its case, so first of all, this is the case. I love that it comes with its own little compact little case thing. Every time a drone comes with a case, I'm probably the happiest camper. I think this case could have been better in the sense of, like, it doesn't have space for the controller. It has space for 2 batteries, but no controller. And there's technically 2 different controllers you can get with this. So I'm like, all right, that's weird. But it does have space for the batteries, which are right here. And I want to talk about these batteries because these are some of the most interesting batteries I've ever used as a drone pilot. Because typically, like, as we have learned from the GoPro Karma, battery security is one of the most important things you can have on the drone in the air because it's your life support. If the battery goes out, then you're screwed. You know, you can look at like the Inspire 2 that has the redundant batteries, that has 2 of them, or even like the Matrice 600 that has, what, 6 batteries, or the whole Matrice batteries. All the Matrice series has redundancy when it comes to that. So there's only 1 battery with this drone, but what's interesting about it is that the batteries actually, like, there's no connectors. Like, there's no, like, thing that you have to plop it in and click or anything like that. You literally just put it on there and it magnetically connects to the drone, which I was just, when I first did that, I was just like, what? It's a magnet and it works, and it does. What's even more interesting, as you can see, is if I put this on the table, the feet of the drone, like what the drone lands on, it's the battery. Like, what? Like, for me, this kind of flips the whole notion of how drones work on its head almost. Like, it's like, typically the battery is the thing you're protecting. It's like, no. We landed on this mug. Like, this is how we fly now. And another thing that's really interesting about this drone, there's a lot of things interesting about this drone, to be honest, is if you look at it, the propellers, I've never seen the propellers that are like inverted. And when I say that, I mean that on one side of the drone, when the drone is sitting up, sitting on its belly, aka its battery, one side of the propellers is on the top side of the drone, and then on the front, they are actually on the bottom side of the drone. And typically they're all either on either side. So I've seen some drones with propellers beneath the body, and I've seen some with above, but this drone actually has it on both. And as you can see, the drone like curves up from the back to the front. So the propellers actually end up being on an equal plane, but you just don't normally see something like this on a drone, is that it really is different. Also, another thing you'll notice is that there's lenses all over this thing. You know, it's like they look like the actual, like the camera lens. That's what the camera lens looks like. And all the other lenses that are all over the body of this drone, you know, they are all exactly almost the same. They just look like smaller versions of that. And this is part of what makes the Skydio 2 a very special drone, is that this drone is not a drone that you buy with the expectation of saying, I'm gonna fly the crap out of this drone. No, the idea is that the drone flies the crap out of itself. And that's really what's supposed to set this drone apart, is that this drone is meant for people that don't necessarily wanna put in the stick time to be able to become, you know, a drone cinematographer like myself. This is meant for people that are like, I just wanna get cool images of myself doing cool things in cool spaces. And, you know, it might have achieved that. You know, obviously, I've only flown it once, but from what I saw, I'm not gonna lie, I was actually a little blown away. Like, it scared the mess out of me, but it worked. And that's what's crazy. Side note, what we did is I took this drone out with a good friend of mine, Dominic Bendijo, and this guy took me, was like, hey, let's go on this short hike to test out this drone and see what it can do. Man, this dude took me up the side of a mountain. So any of this footage that I'm gonna show you, like, there's sweat all over me, but this is an hour and a half into going uphill, carrying these drones the whole time, which I was not at all ready to do, but he just decided that was a fun little side hike to get on because that's Dom. But the thing is, what we really wanted to test was the actual autonomous features of this drone. Now, the autonomous features are paired with a couple different things. Like, first of all, your controller. This controller right here, I'm not gonna lie, I'm not impressed with the controller. It says Skydio right here, but this is actually the controller of the paired Anafi, which doesn't make it any better at all by any stretch of the imagination. But I thought that'd be an interesting point to bring up, is that they were just like, so we don't care about a controller so much, we're not even gonna make it, we're just gonna use somebody else's. That's not the purpose of the drone. It's not about the controller, it's not about you flying it. So they were just like, yeah, okay, cool, it has to have a controller, sure, here. That's kind of what that is the energy that this controller brings to the table. It's like, okay, you just want a controller? Fine, here's a controller. I mean, even to the point of the way you turn it on is you pull up the bracket that holds the phone. And it's not gonna hold nothing but a phone. Like, this is not, you ain't putting an iPad on this thing. Like, that is the full extent of how much this goes out. And it's very simple. Like, there's literally a zoom button for the camera, a tilt button, a capture photo, video, I think that means return to home, and the sticks to control it with. That's it. That's all you got. Yeah, I mean, that's all I'm gonna say about the controller. I'm not a big fan of it, but honestly, I don't know if I'd recommend flying the drone with the controller too much, because there's also the magic wand. This magic wand is very interesting. And what this is meant to be is something that, like, while the drone is tracking you, it makes it so that it has an optical sensors that track you while you fly, as well as if it ever loses you tracking, it can find you from the signal from this controller. And the controller actually can control the distance that the drone is from you. So you could say, oh, it's not high enough yet, I don't like the angle that I think it might be getting, you know, so go back further, go whatever. And you're just kind of trusting the drone, because this screen ain't gonna give you a feed out of what's happening. Like, you're just like, yeah, just capture me, drone. You know, and it does that. Like, you just put it up in the air and just like, all right, look at me, you see me, move a little bit. The drone's like, got you, bro, say no more. And it literally follows you and flies around the objects in the way. And I tested that, and it does not lose you. So this was that's what scared the mess out of me. Is like, I was on the side of a hill, on the side of a mountain, running through like trees and things like that and trying to get the drone to lose me. And the drone was just like, no problem, bro. I got you, especially when I had this on me. This gets a little bit weird to figure out. Like, I was having a little bit of trouble of saying, okay, just a little bit nervous about, okay, go further away in that. And, you know, I'll say as a professional drone pilot, this is one of the most unnerving experiences I've ever had with a drone. Because the drone takes off by itself, and then it's just like, you just let it do its thing. Like, you're not in any way in control of the drone, in the sense of like, I want you to, you know, like, I want you to do whatever. It's like, okay, you can tell how far you want to go, but if it's gonna, like, I tried to run into some trees, which obviously is not what you're supposed to do with a regular drone, and it freaked me out because I just was like, all right, well, the drone's behind me, and I'm gonna run around this tree here, and it just would fly around the tree. Now, when you look at what a typical DJI drone would do, a typical DJI drone would just stop. That's what they do. They're meant to see the sensor says, oh, there's a problem here. Guess what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna stop and let you say, hey, come back and get me, fix this. And this Skydio is like, no, hold my propeller. Kind of thing, like, I got this, like, no worries. And it flies around the objects like, well, like a boss, to be fully honest. I was truly impressed with the adaptive learning this thing did and how it flew around all the objects while I was playing with it. Now, obviously, I want to compare the camera to other drones, which honestly, as you can see, doesn't look bad. Like, the camera looks pretty good. Like, it's a 4K camera. This whole package is only $1,000, and it looks good. I was impressed. I'll say that. I was impressed. I can't see a use that I would possibly have for this drone, but for somebody that's just looking to be a hobbyist and possibly just like play around and like, I do mountain biking, I want to go skiing with my drone, or I want to go on a run and get some drone footage of that, or in my boat. You know, whatever it is that you may be doing that you want to track something or track yourself and just get some, like, you know, Instagram footage or things like that, like, this drone is pretty legit. You don't need to really know anything besides, okay, cool, put the battery on it, turn it on, you know, take it off with this thing, or even from your phone, because it flies from Wi-Fi as well, and it will do the rest for you. Like, when I say the rest for you, I mean literally the rest. Like, you don't have to press record on the camera. It just records everything. You know, it's just like, don't worry about it, you know, just put me in the air. I got it. I'm gonna record the video for you. I'm gonna do the settings on the camera. I'm gonna do all of it. I'm gonna fly around stuff. Like, I got you. Like I said, you're still holding the propeller, right? Keep your hands on it. We're good. Like, that's the feeling I got from this drone. Another interesting feeling is that this is actually the most murderous drone I've ever seen with insects. As you may or may not be able to see, I purposely left it on here. I'm so sorry, Kelly. I didn't do this on purpose. I'm gonna clean it before I promise I'm gonna clean it before I give it back to you. There's like dead bugs and juices of dead bugs all over this drone. And that's a first for me. I've flown many, many drones in my day, but this is the first time I've flown a drone that like literally just murdered insects on the way. It's almost like it wanted to. I know that's a random side note. I just have never like finished flying a drone and just had blood of bugs all over the drone afterwards. Like maybe one, but it was just like a bunch. I'm like, all right, that's interesting. Like the propellers are just destroyed with bug guts. It's just, okay, cool. This drone has intent. Obviously it thinks for itself, so maybe it just doesn't like bugs. Either way, that is my first impression of this drone. I wanna know what yours is, and what would you use this kind of drone for? Let me know in the comments below. And all of this comes for the price of $1,000, which in all honesty is a very reasonable deal. If this camera does what I think it does, like the footage does look pretty good, like really pretty good. But for me as a professional drone pilot, I don't see the purpose. But if you really don't wanna learn how to fly a drone, this might be your best bet. Like it's pretty intriguing with that. Like it definitely flies itself pretty well. All right, Droners, thank you guys so much for checking out this first impressions of the Skydio 2. If you want to see more first impressions and things like that, then you should probably subscribe to the channel because we do this. As always, this was brought to you guys by RemotePilot101.com, and I need you to make sure that you stay fly.